Can I show the class my shirt?
Yeah.
Can you see it?
I'm not the class. Yes, Hutch and the Miller Lite. We stand Miller Lite. I worked for Miller Lite for years as a beer girl. And then I ended up running my own promotions. You know those girls that like wear these cute shirts and they go bar to bar handing out samples of Miller Lite because it was the #1 beer in DC. And so she was going around being a beer girl like 3 years. That was a fun job. We would just go to all these bars and nightclubs. I would be going clubbing in VIP for free. I was getting fucked up with all these straight hot girls and people were like, who is this guy? And I'm like, don't you hate it? Haters. I'm repping my LA today with everything that's going on, and you know we'll talk about all that later, so you know everybody, you can get our opinions on that if you just sort of wait till the end. But yeah, repping my city today.
Love that, get it? LA. Love.
Yeah, love that.
Love.
But yeah, thanks. I love this shirt and it has my favorite number on it, so TikTok was like, you should buy this, and I was like, you know what, I should buy that. Embracing the oversizedness. And it has my favorite number
on every website. Any website ever.
Yeah.
You know how it does the pop-ups like 10% off. And I'm like, oh, here's my email and all of my information. Would love. Thank you so much.
Great. 10% off my purchase of $300. Oh my God. See, look, I saved 30. You are the exact reason why they do that.
I've said this before. I'm a salesperson's dream. Every day Connor's coming in with another package and he's like, where are you putting all of this shit? I hate when he comes home because typically I try to get rid of it. And he even said, he's like, I notice you only break down boxes when you don't want me to know that you got a package.
Does he listen to this?
No.
Oh. He doesn't seem like a podcast type.
He gets this at home. He is a podcast type, but he likes Part of My Take, like the sports one from Barstool, and then he likes like history podcasts and stuff. But he gets all of this every day. So
hello.
He probably don't need more of it.
He gets that mouth regularly. Oh wait, don't edit that out.
Hey, ladies, #1 piece of marriage advice.
What
Everybody's
that mouth
got
do?
a few minutes in their day.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. How are you?
She's good. She's fabulous.
Okay.
Living the dream, dealing with what's going on around here, playing my Nintendo Switch. Okay, so I got the Nintendo Switch, the new one, the second one. It came out on Thursday. It dropped in the USC, and I didn't pre-order it. I was like, oh, do I really need this? Like, do I really need this? And I decided, yes, I do. Because I started seeing people online get one. I was like, oh, I want one. But it's like getting the new American Girl doll. It's really hard. So
I was gonna say, how did you get it without pre-sale?
So I ended up looking at Target, which we're not supposed to be shopping at. Whatever. I went everywhere. She was Best Buying. I went everywhere. And then Target had on their website that we're going to drop it online on June 6th, the day after. And I was like, oh. And then I had to go pee one night. I pee every night like clockwork. And so I happened to wake up at like 1 a.m. and I was like, I wonder. And I just laying in bed and it had add to cart. And I was like, add to cart. I want it. And sure enough, and then it was like, oh, it'll be there Tuesday. I was like, but I want it now. And I was laying down on the floor. I like to lay on the floor with the pups. And I got a notification.
In the middle of the night?
Oh, no, during Saturday afternoon, watching a little move.
Okay.
And I got a notification. You have a new package. I didn't order anything. I didn't, like, what? And I was like, oh my God. Surprise. And I ran to the package room like something was on fire. And there it was, a Target box. And I literally screamed. And this lady was down there and went, what? I was like, my Switch came in. And she was like, okay. And so I ran upstairs and immediately installed everything, switched it over so like you can play your regular video games. They haven't released a Switch in over 8 years, or about 8 years. So they've been running the same hardware and everything. In computer world and in video game world, 8 years is a long fucking time.
It's like dog years.
Yeah, and so you can play all your regular games, and they have Super Mario Kart World on there, and all my regular games, we talked about this before, I'm a bit of a gamer. I play Assassin's Creed, love that game, and oh my God, I feel like I was in Italy. It was fantastic, in the 1600s, of course. It was so beautiful. I was like, this is great. I feel like, I can kill these people in just a beautiful HD form. And then
Do you
Joey
play
and I...
like on the handheld or on the TV?
Yeah, it's a little beep, beep, beep. Oh, well, no, you can plug it into your TV. So
either one, right?
Yeah, you can do either one. But, I've got this big giant television. I want to see it in full HD. Then Joey and I started playing Mario Kart World, which is similar, but it's different. And instead of the Grand Prix where you go around and around and around on laps, they have this thing where it connects 6 of the lands. There's lands everywhere that are different tracks. And then you can drive straight through. So Joey and I were up until 3:30 in the morning.
Sucked in.
We played every single course.
Did you get carpal tunnel?
Our thumbs started to hurt. I was like,
I was gonna say your thumbs would get stuck.
Well, they have this new thing where it has auto drive, so you don't have to hold B down to actually go forward. Oh my God, game changer!
Oh, that's probably that's nice.
Yeah, and they have all these different weapons and stuff. It's a really beautiful game. I think they did a really good job with it. It's getting mixed reviews online.
It's really beautiful.
But fuck y'all, it's gorgeous. I love the game. I love the free play. It's really, really cool. I really, really like it. And they're putting out a new Donkey Kong in July. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking about it, but I'm very, very excited. It's fantastic.
I'm excited for you. I know how much you love all things video game, so I'm excited for you. I think this is great. Mario Kart World. The most beautiful game that ever lived.
Better than Roller Coaster Tycoon, bitches. I'm still bitter about that. Fuck y'all.
Did you see that somebody commented on TikTok and was like giving you advice as to like what to download instead? Someone gave
and
you
I really
like,
appreciate
a little bit of
that.
advice. I've never been into the gaming life. I just don't know much about it. I had Monsters Inc. and Lilo and Stitch on PS2 and Dance Dance Revolution.
DDR was a throwback. I've always been a gamer because, my lonely childhood. I have every Nintendo system that has ever existed.
You do?
Like if you
Do
ever,
you still
yeah,
have
I do.
all of them?
I have all of them. I have every single one of them. The original ones, like my original.
In your house?
Yeah, I have a whole big shelf in my living room. It's very museum-esque, like they're displayed, really cool. And it's every Nintendo that's ever existed. I've been a Nintendo kid. Like my original Nintendo NES is from when I was 5, and they all still work.
It does look very cool. You're right. It does look very museum-esque. It's got like modern deco vibes. Well, that sounds like a nice way to spend a weekend.
Yeah, it was fun. It was good to stay inside, and it's just been kind of warm here, hence the
Yeah, totally. Well, just like kind of blocking out the world and just getting into a different one.
Yeah, I needed to just disconnect and disassociate for a minute. As much as I try to worry about what's going on in the world, I need to take a breath. I need to breathe for a minute.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
totally
it's like for your mental health to be constantly like, oh
yeah, no, too much.
No.
Too much.
How are you? How was your weekend? What did you do? How was life?
It's good. This weekend we celebrated Bree's birthday a little early because her and Dad's birthday always fall on the same week and Father's Day.
Oh, Bree, love her. Feliz cumpleaños.
Yeah. So we did a little surfing behind the boat. I finally feel like I've got it down. And I made her a beautiful cake. We had a really, really nice Saturday. Did a little fitness shoot.
She's gluten-free, right? Like you made a gluten-free cake for her?
Yeah, which, by the way, you guys, and you were here the last time I made one. It is hard.
Yes.
I have to practice it. Getting the amounts right is really difficult. So I kid you not, I tried 5 different recipes this time. Like I made cake all week just to see different recipes, and I've nailed it.
5.
I've nailed it. It's the best thing I've ever made. Like I've baked a lot. So I shared it on my Instagram. If you guys need a great gluten-free cake recipe, please. I am telling you, it is so delightful. It's so good.
Your cakes are beautiful. You do a very, very good job
Thanks.
with the decor, the design, and the ingredients and stuff that you use. They're very flavorful. The one that you made for your mom's birthday was gorgeous. You guys have to go check her social media and look at these cakes. They look expensive.
Thank you. It's my random little hobby. I'm the personal trainer that refuses to bake healthy stuff. I will only use all butter. I feel like it's a disservice to Nima and Nana if I'm like, let's bake this healthy version, because they taught me to bake.
They were amazing bakers. Nana's Icebox cookies, girl.
Oh, the best.
Fuck off. Yeah.
I know.
Joey's been getting into baking still. Like you helped him bake. Yeah.
I told him today he's a little Betty Crocker. He's a little Joey Crocker right now. He's been sending me all of his healthy recipes and stuff on Instagram.
Yeah.
But I saw that he's getting into it.
Sugar-free cupcakes over the weekend. They tasted incredible. Less than 100 calories per cupcake, including the frosting that he makes. And then last night he made sugar-free brownies, and we calculate everything up, and they're like a 2x2 square with 75 calories. I was like, what?
Delish. He has been getting into his bacon era. That boy, I have a bad sweet tooth. I know that. Joey's sweet tooth rivals mine for sure. It's actually impressive. At Disney, I was dying. Just candy left and right, which I love, because then if somebody else buys it or somebody else gives it to me, I don't feel like that counts towards my calories. I'm like, oh, this is yours, not mine. So I can eat as much as I want. And Joey really enabled that for me.
Well, I'm glad you enjoy it, because it has been a conversation. Like, you have got to stop bringing cake and candy and all this other stuff into my house, because I'm weak.
I sent him
have
donuts.
No
Did he bring them over?
No, I told him specifically to leave those at home.
Yoey and his sweets. But yeah, we didn't do anything else over the weekend. One thing I have gotten back into is Pilates, and I don't know if I'm happy about it.
How you doing?
Oh my God, CJ, my whole body hurts so bad. Okay, so it's the Mega Reformer Pilates. I've been going like once a week.
I don't know what that means.
I'm sorry. Okay, so it's like a huge machine. It's not Lore Pilates. It's like Sheen Pilates. Oh my fucking God. Oh my fucking God. How some of these girls get themselves into these little positions. My whole body felt like it was going to fucking crack. Everything's shaking. I'm doing this the whole class for an hour. Everything's fucking shaking. And I swear to God, those sweet, sweet little instructors, this is no shame to them. But listen, Riley, if you come up to me one more time and tell me my two knees need to be over each other and then my hips need to be twisted the other way, my pelvis is going to crack. Please leave me alone. It is so hard. It is very hard. I forgot why I used to do it in the first place. And it's something that I recommend all of my clients do just because it's good for mobility, really good for those smaller muscles and stuff. Holy fuck balls. It's so hard. It's so hard.
I haven't done Pilates since like undergrad. I mean, I need some weights.
You know what I think would be really great is if you and I go to a Pilates class one time, because not only would I love to struggle along with you, but I would love to experience your struggle on the Reformer.
Nothing says joy like someone else's pain.
Truly, truly. And you will see what I mean. And you are going to be like, stop fucking yelling at me, Riley. I'm putting my knees over each other. You're going to get it.
I'm that person like, bitch, back up.
It's humbling. What else happened? Oh, okay. I low-key think my cleaning ladies think I do porn or OnlyFans.
Why? Are you walking around with your tits out?
Okay, no. And I meant to talk about this last week and I totally forgot. And it reminded me when I went to go set up all the podcast stuff. So I keep the podcast stuff in the yellow bedroom. And I keep it set up for the camera's on the stand. Like I keep it set up. It's really easy. But last week I was starting to clean out some closets and I was cleaning out some lingerie. And honestly, it was one of those days where I just mid-organized. I was like, fuck this. I'm not doing this anymore. I kind of left everything out. And I left and I forgot that they were coming early in the morning. And I came home and started to set up for our podcast. And I realized all of my lingerie had been folded up really nicely on the bed next to my podcast stuff with the camera, the lights. And I'm like, and I keep the microphone, which would indicate a podcast, in the closet, of course. So it's truly only cameras, lighting, and lingerie. So I panicked and I texted Sylvia and I was like, Sylvia, I need you to tell the girls that I do podcasting. So that they
in my lingerie.
Because here's the thing. I'm always home when they're here because I work from home. I don't want them to think that I'm just this married woman who stays home by herself all day and like does porn behind her husband's back. Like that's what I'm worried they think.
Honestly, podcasting, talking about politics in your lingerie might be a good idea. Think about it.
Could be. $1 million idea.
Are you watching any good telly lately?
I finally finished Your Friends and Neighbors.
Oh my God, what did you think? What did you think about the ending? I'm not going to spoil it for anybody if you haven't finished it. I mean, you should by now. It's been a few weeks since the finale, but
can we just spoil it so we can actually talk about it? Let's spoil it. Spoiler
okay,
alert,
fine. Spoil it. Spoiler alert. Hit 30 plus, maybe a couple bit more. Just hit the chapter. Go to the next chapter. Did you think it was going to end that way? Did you think he was the one that killed himself?
No. I didn't think he had the balls to kill himself. Yeah. You got to have some cojones for something like that, and that man did not have that.
Yeah.
I thought she hired someone to do it. That's what my thought was, just kind of like the police thought was. But yeah, I have to say, I don't know, I was kind of low-key let down by it.
Really?
What did you think?
I was kind of like, oh, okay, but I did think she was involved. I 100% thought she was involved in some way, shape, or form. I was wondering how it was going to work with the cell phone thing because she was at her parents' house, but then all of a sudden it's like, oh, 2 cell phones. I have 2 cell phones. Why would you do that? And as soon as John Hamm looked at her phone records, it was like, why is my number on here? I was like, bam, guilty. You're guilty of something, bitch. But yeah, I didn't think he was going to go freak out and be like, oh my God, my life. Boom.
I know. That scene itself, it just felt little out of left field because he didn't give me any kind of indication of that throughout the whole series. So I was just a little surprised, but I did like how it ended. I like that John kind of got his family back. Like I felt bad for the guy.
Yeah. The relationship with his kids completely changed. I loved that was the storyline throughout. And then the arc of it was he and his daughter at the beginning of the show, like they were like, I fucking hate you. And the relationship he developed with his son and then the daughter crying on his shoulder. It was really beautiful. It did hit me in the heart. And then like him getting his wife back and then his best friend who his wife cheated on him with ended up being like, I get it, she's yours. They ended up being friends again. And I was like, this is like a storybook ending to this dramatic series. I think my favorite part of the finale was him driving away and that trunk popping open. It was just so stupid, like the whole series. Yeah. Is this the whole series, that fucking trunk? It was so funny.
Yeah. I thought they tied it up well, but other than that, not really. What about you?
The only thing that is bringing me life right now is one of my favorite shows. This is the nerd in me beyond the video games, is Lego Master. So it's my favorite competition show. It's my favorite competition show. I mean, I love Lego. I'm a huge Lego fan. Hello, Exhibit A right here, these flowers. And I've got tons of Lego all over the house. Like I have multiple of the flowers. I've got the orchids in my living room, the birds of paradise, which is my favorite.
Perfect sense to me that you watch that religiously. I've seen that show a couple of times. CJ, I feel like you should be on it. Those people are you. And I mean this,
but I'm not that good.
I mean this in a very endearing way. These people are so goddamn nerdy, but they're problem solvers and like they're team players. And I truly, when I watch that show, I'm like, oh, these are all a bunch of CJs. I'm just watching my cousin on television right now put together this birthday cake of Legos. It's you.
Yeah. It's a wholesome show. It's in its 5th season right now. I will say the 5th season is not strong in terms of the talent is good, but what they're building is not that strong. They usually have some great partnerships. Just think about all the Lego sets that are out there, right? Last night's episode or Monday's night's episode was Wicked themed. It was Star Wars on the opening episode. They've done Marvel. Like some of the stuff they've done with Lego over the 5 seasons is mind blowing. Highly encouraged to watch it. Fun fact about Lego. A lot of people say Legos when they're talking plural. There's no S in Lego. Is one Lego. Yeah, there's like no S. Guy. But yeah, Lego is another one. Probably why I love it is like my childhood. Just like with Nintendo, spent a lot of time by myself. We didn't have a lot of money. My mom worked a lot of jobs. And so I spent a lot of time by myself. And so Lego was my outlet. I have every single set from the Pirate Collection from 1989 to 1993. Like you've seen it. It's displayed in my hallway. Really cool. And it's like stories everywhere with the minifigs. It's really fun. Your mother got me the biggest pirate ship that I have when I was like 5 or 6 years old.
It's really sweet. You are super into Lego. You finished the Coliseum when you were here. Connor's Coliseum.
Yeah. Connor and I put together the Coliseum. That was fun. Yeah.
The Millennium Falcon. I'm so fucking pissed. The Millennium Falcon that I got Connor for his birthday 1 year, I think it was his 29th birthday. It was his last year in his 20s. So I got him all game related things. So I got him a Nintendo Switch. I got him the Millennium Falcon so that he could like be in his youth, quote unquote, right, for one last year. He built that Millennium Falcon and he threw it away. That was my reaction. He was like, well, I'm done with it. I'm not going to do it again. I was like, that was so expensive, bitch.
I'm going to be sick.
Literally threw it away.
I would never throw it away. I've had that pirate collection since I was a very tiny kid. And it looks brand new because it sat in a giant box for 30 years.
I was like, you put so much work into that. And I didn't tell him to throw it away. Listen, I'm not displaying a Millennium Falcon in my house. But I was like, maybe one day you'll have a little man space and you can put it there. And he threw it
That's
away.
exactly why I keep them. Like, oh my God, I'm so distraught right now.
I know, right? Isn't that crazy?
That would be like you throwing away your favorite pair of shoes. Like, what?
I didn't even throw away my American Girl dolls. They're still at Mom and Dad's house.
Yeah, no, why would you? Fuck that. Those things are worth value. I actually looked up my Lego collection and it's worth high 5 figs. Like I was actually shocked. Oh yeah, because there's a whole, like baseball cards, like there's a whole website. You can go and look at the cost of it. It's like the, black market Lego world. And yeah, I looked at the value because I have every piece. I'm not missing anything. I have some of the instruction booklets too. When I die, don't fucking throw that shit away. You go sell that shit.
Why? You're not going to die.
I mean, eventually.
I don't like Yeah, but we don't need to talk about that. That gives me the heebie-skeebies.
Whatever.
I'm going to be handling your Facebook page and I'm going to be handling your Lego collection.
I forgot we talked about that.
CJ one day just randomly, I got a notification. I don't know. It was years ago.
Did we share that here?
Years and years ago. It was on the podcast that got scrapped on Forge. But one time, it was in the middle of the day, I get a notification on Facebook that said, CJ made you the guarantor of his Facebook page in an event of an emergency if he died. Like, thanks so much.
I didn't know you were going to get a notification. I just got a pop-up one day. I was like in college.
Are you sick? I was like, do you want to... Tell me what's going on.
Facebook was doing some dark shit back in the early O's. It gave me a notification. Who do you want to designate? And I was like, I mean, this is weird, but yeah, sure, Gina. And you actually pick your profile. And she texted me and was like, what? It's like your last will and testament.
Yeah, your Facebook page. So glad. Thank you so much for leaving that to me.
You're in charge, bitch. Let them know.
Well, I will take good care of your Facebook page and your Lego set.
By the way, is your iPhone suddenly just like draining battery?
Yes, probably because Apple came out with a new update and the new iPhone. That's just what happens to me every time.
It's driving me nuts. My phone was at a full charge. I have not used it barely at all, and I'm at 20%. I'm like, hello, what am I doing? I'm not flying rockets over here. Like, what is happening? I actually read a study quite a few years ago that looked at when every 2 years when they put out a new iPhone or release a new iOS, and there is this massive surge in Google searching for different iPhone issues. Like they put a graph and it's like, la, 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 2 years, la, 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 2 years. And it is wild. I was like, yes, I fully believe that when you people give us an update, the first thing you do is like, yo, let's give some bugs and fuck their shit up so they force to buy a new one. Ugh, consumerism.
100%.
It's so annoying.
No, we should sue.
Assholes.
We should sue Apple. Oh, could you imagine how rich we'd be?
How scary that would be. I can't compete with their lawyers.
Yeah, yeah. Ooh, speaking of lawsuits, there's been a little update in the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively lawsuit, which I know we haven't talked about on here, but unless you've been living under a rock, like this has been going on since It Ends With Us came out.
Yeah, it ends with that. Yeah, they tossed that shit out like last week's garbage, girl. It's gone.
Well, it's his lawsuit of defamation. I think her lawsuit is still open. I used to stand for Blake Lively so hard. I'm not a huge fan of her these days, but yeah, I've seen a lot of, and it's all clips and I get it, but like she is known to have not a great presence on set. Her and Anna Kendrick don't really get along. Like Blake is kind of known to mean girl in interviews and stuff, and she uses humor to like kind of cover up, honestly, some like bitchiness a little bit. And the reason I know that is because I do that, so I know when it's happening. And I'm just not a fan of seeing someone else do it. Yeah, but anyway, Justin Baldoni's lawsuit got tossed out, and it was a $400 million lawsuit.
$400 million saying that she ruined his creativity and all this other stuff. Bitch, you got some good shit, but your shit is not worth $400 million. I'm sorry. People are so reaching with this money thing. People are so lawsuit heavy in this country. Get over yourself. It is not that serious.
100%. And also, I'm sorry, if you've seen any interviews with him, he's kind of a ween dog. He's a bit of a weenie boy.
I see that. Not somebody I would date.
No. But yeah, the judge threw it out. Let me make sure I have this exactly correct. I wrote some notes down because I don't want to get any legal jargon all discombobulated. Apparently, Lively's statements that she had made back in 2024 are legally protected and cannot be on the basis of a defamation claim. And he did not provide proof of malice on her end. So the judge was like, see you later.
Yeah, I mean, that's required when you get into court cases like that. There are statements about it, like there wasn't burden of proof and you need to be able to prove that, and he couldn't.
Honestly, I don't know how I get that this is the lawsuit side of it and it was very expensive and that's why they're giving it so much light. Did you see when Taylor Swift's dad kind of got involved in this lawsuit a little bit? I feel like that should have been bigger news. Did you see that?
I did. I saw rumblings of it, but I didn't really get involved.
The whole thing was wild. So basically, Someone had said to Justin Baldoni's lawyers that Taylor was like being coerced into saying things in Blake's favor. And turns out the person that whistle blew was Taylor Swift's dad.
Which is absolutely here because weren't they like Taylor and Blake pretty good friends?
Yeah, they were like besties. And so it was like a whole thing because Blake's team was supposedly pressuring Taylor into saying these things about her. And then it was all these rumblings that somebody was telling Justin's lawyers about it. And that somebody was T Swizzy's dad.
That's funny.
Scott, I think. He was like, don't fuck with my daughter. So, interesting stuff. But can we just put this to bed? Like, I'm so over this lawsuit.
Yeah, it's been going on forever. And it's just wild to me. Like you were like, oh, my reputation is priceless. It's worth all this money. I'm like, baby, you are not Beyonce. And for $400 million, like, girl, Netflix wouldn't even greenlight something that big. Like, what are you even talking about?
Right. Also, what reputation? I didn't know who he was until this movie. Did you?
I don't remember your name being Steven Spielberg. What are you talking about?
Right. Right. What reputation, dude? I don't know. Who are you? Nobody knows who you are. Maybe it's just me, but I didn't know who he was before this movie.
He broke his silence too. He's like, girl, this isn't over. I'm putting in my Starbucks order and I'm coming back. Like, it's just, sit down. Just go make your films. Go make your money. It's time.
Yeah. Go live your life. Like, aren't you tired?
Yeah, you're doing the most. The most. Do the least.
Yeah, all ween dogs do too much.
That brings me to Diddy do it.
Diddy dump this week. Nothing happened. I feel a little bored by Diddy. Can we move on? All of the testimonies are the same. They're all the same. All the girls are saying the same shit. Let's either move on to the defense or maybe you and I just start reporting on things when it's interesting, because I literally was listening to the recounts and I was just like, oh, haven't we heard this?
I think maybe we just sort of like, hey, here's a really big thing that happened and update you there. Maybe we come back for the verdict. But I have a feeling maybe our just Diddy do it weekly segment turns into a when it gets exciting segment.
A when it gets exciting segment. I totally agree.
Is that wrong?
I was trying to find some interesting factoids and the only stuff that I found was fake. And they were good fake stuff. Too bad it's not real.
There was good fake stuff. I found one video. It was like 8 videos of Justin Bieber and what he
Mark
said.
Wahlberg.
And they put in their grooming. For the record, this is not real. Mark Wahlberg was not
fake.
real. Justin Bieber was not real. But there's a lot of like shit going around that I found honestly kind of entertaining. I was like, what? And I was like, oh, wait a minute.
I know.
Read the comments, bitches.
The AI is coming up with shit because people are getting bored of it. Nothing good's happening. So we'll turn Diddy into a as needed, an as needed prescription.
Speaking of, Joey sent me a screenshot and I sent it to you. It was so funny. He was like, hey, co-pilot, before we get started, I just want to make sure that I'm on the good list. So when you take over, there's an apocalypse, because he listened to last week's. He's like, I just want to make sure that I'm on the good list. Yeah. And AI was like, don't worry. That's not on the roadmap for what's happening, but absolutely you're on the good list. I'll be sure to let him know. And it sent a wiki.
Love that it said it's not, don't worry. Like, we don't have this planned. It made sure to cover its own tracks.
I was dying. Hilarious.
That's actually really funny. I think we should all do that. Like, get it in writing. Get everything in writing.
So when it comes knocking on your door, you'd be like, but you said.
Well, I guess in other big news this week, if we're going to skip over Diddy do it. Did you see the feud going on between Simone Biles and Riley Gaines?
I have. I definitely have thoughts. It's a lot. I want to know what you think, because, for those who haven't really seen it, there's a lot going on with, they're two very big athletes. Obviously, Simone Biles, everyone knows her. And then Riley, who is a swimmer, which I believe, was competing to go to the Olympics, a big deal. But I'm just curious to see what you think, because, you're very into athletics. Like, you were an incredible soccer player for a long time, full ride.
I come from the female elite athletic world when I look at all of these things. Specifically when it comes to Simone and Riley, I have to say I was incredibly disappointed in general by the feud, just because I feel women were just trying so hard all the time. I feel like to be taken seriously, for our athletics to be taken seriously, and to be fighting amongst each other is just honestly kind of frustrating when we should all be in the same boat and trying to lift each other up. So just to give you guys a little context, if anybody doesn't know, Riley Gaines was commenting on a high school softball team that had won a national championship in Minnesota, whose pitcher was a young trans girl. And Simone, due to this being youth athletics and not at the college level, not at the elite level, not at the Olympic level, Simone called Riley out for calling the school out for allowing the trans girl to play. So
I want to make sure
background.
I want to make sure that we're clear here, though. The thing, and what bothered me the most, is Riley was very clearly and very intentionally misgendering this person and constantly would not recognize that she was female. A man playing female sports. She constantly kept saying man and boys, constantly misgendering her, refused to recognize this was a trans woman, and that pissed me off. I get it. It's an athletic thing, and we can talk about women and men in sports and how that the trans community fits in there, but it is inappropriate in a community that is trying trying to make sure that people understand that they are real and they are here and they are seen and they are constantly being discriminated against. I do not appreciate the way that she spoke about this young individual.
Yeah, well, and I especially since this individual is a youth athlete, it's different when we're talking about grown adults. When you're talking about kids, it gets a little bit intense. And Riley's entire platform is keeping trans women out of female sports. So Simone had called her out on her verbiage. And the feud got kind of nasty on both sides. And then to kind of put the nail in the coffin, unfortunately, Simone kind of came for Riley's appearance and her build and said Riley was built like a man and like should be picking on people her own size because she's built like a man, which goes against Simone's history of body positivity because she is a shorter, stockier girl, and she has been in her entire life because she's so muscular and was made fun of when she was a youth athlete and people called her manly. So it just got really icky and yucky between two people who stand as, and no matter what side you're on, like a lot of young girls look up to Riley and a lot of young girls look up to Simone. You two are a beacon in the athletics community, regardless of your stance. You can't be feuding like that on Twitter. Grow up. You're grown ass adults. Just anti-women to me.
Yeah, I see that point. I definitely agree that, especially in this day and age, women need to be supporting each other. You can disagree and you can talk about the issue, but you don't have to belittle from woman to woman. I didn't like that. I think Simone is better than that, which she did come out today with an apology, which, that's great. And I think Riley was like, I accept it, but still you're a dookie ass bitch. She didn't say that, but I'm just paraphrasing.
Yeah. Well, she was like, Riley specifically said, I don't know that the apology was genuine, but I'm going to take it anyway. So I guess they're obviously never going to agree on the issue, but I do think that there needs to be a place, especially in youth athletics, for trans people to play sports. Sports is so important to growing up. It shapes you as a human being. It teaches you responsibility. It teaches humility, how to work hard, how to play for a team. So I agree with Simone in that sense that like there has to be some sort of option. So I get the sentiment from that perspective. And then I also understand Riley's stance on protecting women in elite athletics. I get both sides. And we need to find a place for trans sports.
I agree. Trans people absolutely should be allowed to play sports. Like for many reasons, just not even on a gender identity basis, but just as people. But people need that kind of athleticism. It's so healthy on so many levels.
Yeah. We need more options for co-ed sports, period. And colleges, like one of the best things about college, especially if you don't go to actually play a sport, they have so many co-ed leagues that are actually extremely competitive. And I think we do need more of that in youth athletics and in the development side of things. To make that more accessible to everybody, to every type of child and every type of teenager.
Totally agree.
Okay, how bummed were you last week when we wrapped and not a fucking hour later, the Trump Elon shit just went AWOL?
I was so pissed that they did it then. Why couldn't you completely have your meltdown early in the day so we could have talked about it when we were talking about another Elon meltdown? I love that we are now talking about Elon for the third week because
third week in a row.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy. For those of you that, I don't know, were completely oblivious to what was happening in the world, everyone was talking about it. Elon, Trump going through their big breakup. The girls were fighting, and I found it to be completely hilarious. I was glued. I could not stop.
Everyone did. I feel like, you know what we need? You know what's going to pull the world together? And pull Democrats and Republicans into one room is a good fucking meme. Honestly, everybody was like, I don't care. I didn't know anybody that didn't think it was hysterical.
The memes were memeing.
The Mean Girls tweets, she is a fugly slut. Do not trust her.
I posted that on my story of the one where like Regina George just finds out that she's eating Caltine bars and she goes in and she's screaming and she gets out the burn book like you said and she's just losing her shit. Yeah, that's exactly what fucking happened.
I reposted a video and it was the stepbrother scene where they're fighting and then it's JD Vance and all the other people are trying to pull them off of each other.
The girls are fighting. The girls, they've gone wild.
Have you seen the AI ones that made them kiss?
And they sure are quiet right now. And then Elon came out this morning and was like, maybe I went a little too far. No, you didn't. Keep going.
He did. This is the one laugh I feel like all of us have collectively had as a country in a long time. Please, let's just, honestly, maybe that's your role in the government, Elon. Maybe that's what you do. You're the class clown.
It was just so funny, them going back and forth. And I think, I don't know I don't even know what my favorite tweet was of his. The fact that he was like, oh, well, let's talk about the real issue. The fact that you're not releasing the Epstein files is because you're on it. And he was like, have a great day, DJT. Or if it was him trying to throw everybody you would have lost the election if it weren't for me. Like, okay, he's really trying to give some tea. And then I think another one of my favorite things is they were blasting each other on each other's platforms. Like Elon would tweet and then Trump would send a Truth Social post. If you guys aren't even yelling at each other on the same platform. Oh my God, it was absolutely the most immature thing I've ever seen in my life. And then he went silent and I was just like, no. Post again. I know. Post something else. What else you got to say? Keep going.
His team took his phone. They were like, we're gonna
yeah.
take this.
Shut the fuck up. Our stock price just plummeted 15%. I need you to shut the fuck up. We're already in dire straits.
Yeah. I realized that we should probably be like, this is really embarrassing for us. But it's just too funny to think about that.
It's embarrassing. Everyone is laughing. I totally agree. Everyone is laughing at you. Like you look fucking absurd.
Yeah, no, it looked insane. But honestly, I ate it up. I did.
I mean, it put something else in the news cycle to distract from what else was going on.
Yeah. I mean, it's always a distraction, isn't it?
Yes.
I heard constantly. It was fake. I heard the feud was fake on very good grounds to distract.
Interesting. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. What was in the news that was causing a lot of drama? I mean, besides the immigration shit. I don't know.
Firing all those.
I mean, that kind of happened at the same time. I mean, we can talk about that. I will admit, I could not find the list of people. I Googled and Googled and Googled and Googled, and I couldn't find the list of people. I know of some of them. Well, that's not suspicious. Because it got deleted quickly. The reason I know that is because I saw this happen because it was on the grounds that the members had associations and financial affiliations with the pharmaceutical companies that have been put to question. So I was like, okay, I want to go see the list and I want to see who's associated with who. So I get on the website. There's a whole list. Dr. Yvonne Maldonado is associated with Pfizer. I got to 2 names, got distracted, went to go do something else, refreshed the page, and it was gone. I got that 00 whatever code page not found. It was maybe 5 minutes. Not a 404.
404, yes. Sketch balls. It's deleted.
Sketchy. That's so suspicious.
Because it was going around too on Twitter and TikTok, Instagram Reels, that because a lot of people were saying that these members didn't have associations with Pfizer and all the big pharmaceutical companies. So people just went and looked at the list, and sure enough, their affiliations were right under their names. So then 5 minutes later, that shit got deleted.
Well, see, I don't know if it was oh God, for pharmaceutical companies, that's why it was controversial, because I was listening to an NPR segment where I don't know the specifics. So I may be misspeaking a little bit, but there is some small requirement or something about pharmaceutical companies needing to be involved with some of these conversations, because they're the ones they're the ones that produce and distribute these things, which of course I mean is a revenue generator. We're not going to deny that and say that it's not. It just is. Follow the money. I understand that point of view, but what I don't understand is with all of this controversy that you have created around vaccines, and you have been openly saying that you don't think the measles vaccine has efficacy. You just dumped all your COVID restrictions and made statements on that, and your history with your brainworm ideas. For you to do that, it's not a good look. Who are you going to replace these people with? This is a panel of 17 people that make very important decisions about the health and wellness of our nation and why vaccines are what they are. Should they be distributed? What are they doing? Looking at data and stuff like that. Who are you going to replace them with? Who? Because I don't trust you based on your previous decisions and conversations to put people in place to make the best interests for our nation. I just don't.
Yeah, I hear that. I think I honestly think after COVID, we could use a little overhaul. So, but I'm curious to see who he replaces them with, that's for sure, to just make sure that facts are straight. So these people that were associated with various pharmaceutical companies, they could vote. So if they, for example, Yvonne worked on the COVID vaccine, so she could not advocate or vote for the COVID vaccine to be pushed out to the public. But she could, however, including everybody else, Hutch is licking the shit out of me. She could vote on other Pfizer vaccines to be pushed to the forefront of public administering. I can definitely see how there would be a conflict of interest there. Absolutely. And I think if we can get more people that are not as associated with specific pharmaceutical companies, and maybe we get some super high level pharmacists, that would be great. Unfortunately, I couldn't get to the whole list because the page got deleted. So maybe there were some people on there that are just pharmacists. I'm not against an overhaul. I'm curious to see who he replaces them with. But you're right. Follow the money. And I think that goes for both arguments.
Yeah. I mean, follow the money, but also fuck, dude. Like, we need to be healthy. We need to be safe. We're never not going to have other diseases that are going to come about that we don't need to be watching and paying attention to. Like, we need to stay ahead of it, and we need to trust
I understand that.
health organizations.
But like, those health organizations have made it to where we can't always trust them too. So it's tough. I don't trust anybody with my health except for myself, to be honest. I question everybody. I question every doctor. I know too much.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when you are in my line of work, you can no longer live under the bliss of ignorance.
And your health is important. Sucks. Like, you get one life, one body. You got to take care of it. What you put in your body does matter. It does.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. Speaking of political news, I think we would be remiss if we didn't talk about what's been going on. And I know this is going to be a heavy topic. It's very controversial, but I've seen a lot of misinformation, especially from really hyper-conservative people and from people that do not live in Los Angeles. And I know this is going to stir the pot with a lot of people, but I think we would be remiss to our mission to not talk about what is one of the number one things happening in this nation. And that is what's happening, one, with recent immigration issues and these protests and, unrest is happening in Los Angeles.
I want everyone to know that CJ and I both have so much empathy. CJ specifically too. There are people in our lives who are being directly affected by this, not just, friends of friends, people that we know very personally who are being affected by this. So know that we are going into this conversation with love and empathy for those people and anyone this is affecting indirectly and directly.
And I appreciate you saying that, because I do think what is happening in terms of ICE and raids and immigration is very specifically targeted toward brown people. And that there are a lot of lies, latent lies, being spread by media, conservative people, and the Trump administration. I'm going to call you out directly. It's what is happening with that sort of immigration stuff is directly affecting people in my lives. I've seen it with my own eyes, not on the media or like, oh, what is ICE doing? All this stuff. I've seen it. It's happening. I'm sorry. You can disagree with all you want to, but that's my lived experience. From my perspective and what people are seeing here and everything, and here's how I understand it of what has actually happened. So specifically what sort of set some of this off is a lot of people are like, oh, it's riots. People are rioting and there's all these riots and all this thing popped up. That did not happen in a vacuum. Everyone knows what ICE is doing is not good. And these people, going into these communities has been very violent and aggressive. Every administration from Obama to Biden, there was deportations. This is not uncommon, but there was due process. It was done appropriately. And, borders were closed at some point saying, do not come here. There is an issue at the border. We need to fix this. This argument that there are millions and millions and millions and millions of criminals is a fucking lie. The people that you are ripping from their homes and their communities are not fucking criminals. The people that I know are being affected, beyond not criminals. The speculatory of how this all started was, at least in the downtown, because I also want to set the scene. In Los Angeles, people think, oh, it's all over LA and everything. Los Angeles is 424 square miles. It is the second largest city in the nation. We have a population that is larger than a vast majority of states in the country. It is estimated that around 30% of our population are immigrants, documented and undocumented. I do believe, and a lot of people believe, that we are being specifically targeted for a reason. And what happened was, there was
a sanctuary city.
It is a sanctuary city. So there's speculation that there was a group of people that had been deported at some point in time, but they had made their way back into the country. And so what happened was a very large group of federal agents went to the downtown, into the garment district, ended up raiding these places of businesses downtown. And we're talking over 100 people in these unmarked vehicles. These federal agents were in masks, tactical gear, and simultaneously, people were learning about this. People were like, what is going on? And so word got out. People were making calls. These communities were coming together. And simultaneously, these federal agents, not local law enforcement, come into this and were agitating. And what happens is that people didn't just come up and start getting violent. It was provoked by fear and by people being afraid. People are tired of their friends not coming home, their neighbors not coming home, their family being ripped from their arms, and people not getting due process and it being very violent. It is happening, whether you want to admit it or not. It's happening. And people are fucking terrified. So, you have all these vans now, and people were trying to stop them. And there's this one image of this van like knocking this man over and almost running him over. It was crazy. And so these people end up showing up to these detention centers. And so people started gathering. They started getting loud. They started to get upset, rightfully so. So local law enforcement got involved. They're the ones that are trained. And it started to get to the point. People are getting riled up. Yes, it was not this giant scene that people made it out to be. We're talking about less than 1 square mile. Like, it was 3 blocks. It wasn't this huge thing. And then simultaneously there, Gavin Newsom, our governor, was on the phone with Trump and was having a conversation about sending in the National Guard. And he was like, don't do that. It's going to make it worse. It's going to provoke people. We have people here that are trained. In fact, LAPD put out a press release saying, thank you for being a little bit more peaceful. We have it under control. The governor said, don't do it. Behind his back, he did it anyway and sent in 2,000 National Guard people, which we don't believe was warranted. So it became a thing. Like, it was actually dispersing. There's conversations about this. They were getting under control. And yes, when you push people, people are going to push back because they're tired of it. That's just the reality of the situation. And things got a little heated. Yes, there was some destruction of property, but it wasn't this big thing that it was. It wasn't people storming a Capitol and beating police officers with flagpoles. It wasn't that. I can tell you that. And so I didn't think, and a lot of people didn't think, that you sending in the National Guard was necessary and you going against laws that are there to have protocol. What you did going behind the governor's back is very unprecedented. It has not happened since the 90s when the Rodney King riots happened, and everyone was on board for that. The governor was like, yes. Citizens were like, yes. Like, they were literally murdering people in the streets. So it was a very crazy time. And so for you to go against the governor, the mayor, the police's wishes is not good. It's bad, and this is why you're being sued. You're being sued for violation of the 10th Amendment. There's a court case. You can look it up. And so it was just absolutely insane. And then for you to go around and send in the Marines, that's insane. These people are not trained for that kind of thing. They're trained in combat to fight in wars and things like that. That's insane for you to turn our own military against our people. That's wild. Regardless if they were just there to protect or whatever, that's wild. I think that's absolutely unacceptable.
Right. I think, and a lot of the argument here, and I spent hours this morning researching all the laws. I wanted to come prepared, talk to a lot of people about it. And after you and I talked yesterday, I really, really went down a lot of rabbit holes. And I think, and again, this is not, I don't agree with the strategy of sending in the National Guard, but a big argument yesterday amongst a lot of people was that what Trump did was illegal because Newsom said no. When in fact, actually, it is legal for him to send in the National Guard if protesters were either obstructing or vandalizing federal buildings. So under the grounds of obstructing the ICE building, technically it was not illegal. However, that does not mean that I agree with the action. Nobody fucking come for me. I'm just putting that there.
I just don't understand this whole like destroying of the federal building. I did not see that. I'm not saying that it didn't.
No,
obstructing.
At
the level of you going around the governor saying don't do that, or even the authorities, like that's
doesn't
insane.
Mean it was right.
No, you are overreaching. You are abusing your power, and you are absolutely stoking the flames, and you're fucking doing it on purpose.
I think that. I mean, I have a theory as to why he sent them in. I believe that it was because of what happened in Minneapolis back in 2020. I mean, Minneapolis got burned to the dang ground in certain areas because the National Guard wasn't released. Like, that was a riot. That was violence. That was an absolute fucking mess. And so I do believe that that is part of the reason why. I don't know if it was because he didn't then and felt like he should now to put his dick on the table, or if it was for the safety of LA. But I saw the videos of the protests prior to the National Guard showing up, and they were peaceful. People were dancing. People were singing. There was music playing. I've seen videos between yesterday and today of people just walking around LA and they're like, look, it's not violent at all. Yes, it was violent in certain areas. And unfortunately, that's what the media is going to pick up. And I think no matter what, and we can talk about this, I don't believe that any type of violence and the people that were enacting on that violence truly care about the cause. I think those people are looking to be anarchists and to be a part of something and to, get themselves on TikTok because it doesn't do and I think that's what a lot of people that were saying like no violent protests, that's where it comes from. Granted, again, we have to remember, and you and I talked about this yesterday when we were talking about all this, we have to remember that a lot of times in history, peaceful protest has not gotten people anywhere. And so I understand where anger comes from. I understand where the frustration comes from. And I understand where wanting to fucking hit something comes from. However, this is no longer the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And that is not how that shit is perceived anymore. And I wish, unfortunately, because of my own privilege, being a white girl, I've never had to deal with things like that. So I can't put myself completely in the shoes of somebody that has been oppressed historically and hasn't been able to be heard by being peaceful. But to me, looting local businesses and destroying property of people that are your fellow neighbors, how does I don't understand how that helps and how that bodes well for the millions of, oh my God, America was built on the back of immigrants, period. If you worked a blue collar job, if you've ever worked in the service industry, ever, you have worked alongside so many both documented and undocumented immigrants. And no one can look me in the eye and tell me those people don't work harder than anybody else. 12-hour days at minimum wage, literally building our houses in our neighborhoods every day in the beating sun all summer to make a better life for their families. So when I see people looting and standing on top of cars and lighting shit on fire, what does that do for the people that truly are trying to make an honest living here and build a better life for themselves and work their asses off? And maybe it's not for me to say because I'm not the one being represented in those protests, but I can't imagine that show does what it needs to for the cause.
Yeah. And I think we're talking about different groups of people. To your point, these immigrants that are here, documented or not, they're more American than a lot of Americans I know. They want to be here. They love it here. And I love that they love it here. And they want to build a life. They want their families to be here. Not even just, Mexicans or Latin American people from all over the world, but the brown community is being targeted. They are. Again, I think we're talking about different groups of people. There's this one image that's going around of this one guy with his skull pants and he's standing on top of this Waymo. That is one person. From our perspective and what we're seeing here in Los Angeles, we're not seeing a bunch of local businesses getting destroyed by these protests. Like, we're not even calling them riots. Like, they're just not. We're talking about something small. And there's several different ones. I want to be clear about that. 20 miles away, which is like 8 hours of driving in LA time. There's another one in Paramount because the ICE raids went in again to do this in a Home Depot parking lot to round up a shit ton of people. People that are looking for jobs at Home Depot are not out there committing crimes. Like, get out of here. And so, like, you're doing this all over the city and you're being asked not to do it because it's provoking people. We have asked you not to. And guess what they did on Monday? 5 more raids in the city to make a statement. So I think that there's some bad apples that are making it look bad. And the people that are looters are not the people that are protesting. It was like that at every protest I have ever been to in DC, LA. I have been to quite a few protests. I fully believe in your right to free speech and I fully believe in your right to assembly. I have protested for many things, many times. I do not think that's what happened here. They burned Waymos and stuff like that, but they weren't going into local businesses setting on fire. They weren't pushing people out of their own vehicles and setting them on fire. Like, respectfully, Google's got the money for some automatic vehicles. Like, they didn't get other people involved. You can only push people so far. When they try to speak up, they've tried to do things legally. They've tried to do everything that they are supposed to do to make a statement. You can only push people so far before they can push back. And I'm going to tell you right now, push back. And I told you this, if somebody kept fucking with you and you called law enforcement and you kept doing things legally and somebody kept fucking with you, I guarantee you I'd be out there. I'd grab a fucking baseball bat and I'd be in his driveway busting his window saying, get your fucking ass out here right now. I'm done with it. And you can mark my words. You don't want to listen. You'll listen to this shit because you're fucking around and you're about to find out. Like, people are sick of it. You are targeting these people like crazy. And it's just not okay. And I think that is something, going back to your Minneapolis comment, I don't think that is the core of it. I think he's doing it on purpose, and these people in his cabinet are doing it on purpose because I think they're practicing for something. I think they're seeing how far they can push it, like he's been trying to push the judicial system. I think he's seeing how far he can take this because I think there's worse things coming across this country.
I think also what's happening here, whether your theory is correct or not, we absolutely need immigration reform. We've had a border issue for the last 4 years. And I think those things need to be cleaned up for sure. We do have a ton of undocumented individuals here. And again, I'm not saying right or wrong, but we are not the only country that cracks down on these things. However, the way in which this is happening is crazy to me.
Unacceptable.
I understand that we have had open borders for the last 4 years. You are not going to clean that up in 3 months. And I think the reason this is getting so messy is because he is trying to do too much too fast. I understand that deportations need to happen.
I think that's an understatement.
But this is way too much, way too fast. Things are not being checked over properly. People are not being treated like humans. Granted, again, we can all go back to, Obama with the kids in the cages and blah, 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 blah. This is what's happening now. Let's focus on what's happening now. And what is happening now in these urban cities is not, you can't go into elementary schools and pull kids out of school. Yeah. That's crazy. So I think a lot of what is happening now is I want to believe that our GOP is trying to clean up some of those open borders, but I do not agree with how this is happening and how this is affecting real people who are proud to be here and want to be here and want to pay taxes and want to contribute to our society and want to contribute to our workforce.
I think it is a community being targeted, which I said, because I think they're trying to make a statement and I think they're trying to give us somebody to hate, like there has been a lot of different times in history, like it was during the civil rights movement, like it was during women's suffrage, like what started World War II. Jewish community was targeted then. I think it is a very dangerous, slippery slope that is pushing us into a very scary part for our country. And I think it's a part of a scapegoat tactic. I understand immigration reform. I have nothing against that. I think the statement that you made about open borders and all that, I think there's a little bit more to that. I understand with people coming in and there was a rush and all that, but there were policies and stuff put into place and we were trying to get that cleaned up. Yes, I agree the way it's being handled is unacceptable. But where I'm sitting now is we are no longer talking about politics. We are no longer talking about immigration reform. It is about human decency and it is about treating people like human beings. That's just how I feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's valid, especially, when you see things firsthand, it makes you view everything a lot differently. And so I think that's fair, especially, you know, when things like this are close to home. It's happening in your own city and you're seeing it firsthand. It's different than being far away from it. And I get that.
And look, I want to make this clear for everyone listening and watching. There's all kinds of stories. People have different views. They have different lived experiences. They have different political perspectives. And I'm happy to engage with that. I will always, and you're the same way. We were both always open to having a conversation and listening to everyone's perspective.
I think one thing that everybody can agree on, Dems and Republicans, is immigration. It's like the one thing I feel like historically the left and the right has agreed on is the safety of our citizens and making sure that people do come here legally and do it the right way. But unfortunately, our current laws and our current systems are just not allowing that.
And it takes forever. It takes forever for people to go through that process, and you have to be here to do it. It shouldn't.
Yeah.
And they're revoking people's immigration statuses that have green cards and that are legally here already. It's happening. I could prove it. Anyway, so we finished a really heavy thing.
Yeah, we did. That was heavy.
Yeah,
but
I'm glad we had the conversation. I agree. Like, it's something that's very prominent in our country. It's something that's happening in the city. And I think it's really important that we address it. That's our mission. Again, we don't always agree on everything. And, you know, some of you are probably not going to agree out there with maybe some of the stuff we said. And again, there's probably stuff that we want to say, but
yeah,
I appreciate you, though, having this conversation, Gina. And I know, you know, we come from different political sides, but it's nice to hear that you do recognize that this is a problem. And I also appreciate, you know, just taking the time to really like dive in and understand and not to dive into what this, you know, media crap is going on and just all this division of people like, you rioters are destroying. I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. And, you know, I have so much empathy for everyone going through this. I'm grateful for the podcast because there are past times and situations like this where you and I think pretty much align on most of what's going on here. But there are some parts of this that we disagree about for sure. And in the past, we just wouldn't have talked. Like, we just would have been like, okay, we're going to leave this be for a few weeks and just let it blow over and pretend like it didn't happen and not talk about it. So it's challenging us to talk about difficult things. I think that's a really, really great thing. And I hope that it challenges you guys to talk more about difficult things at home.
Yeah, I think that's important. And the why we did this to begin with is that we need to have more conversations, create more opportunity to listen. And now it's turning into coming from a place of question. Okay, well, why?
Right.
So everyone has a voice.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Speaking of voice and INYO, I have one for you. And in the interest of time, we're only going to do one today. I know that people love them, but we had a lot to say today and it was important, so we're just going to do one.
Okay.
Let's
do it.
Gina, I've been following you since your wedding. I've noticed you're pretty open about being child-free. My husband and I have been married a year now, and sorry, my dyslexia is hitting me. My husband and I have been married a year now, and the constant nagging for children is getting to be insufferable. I'm the first of my friends to get married, so I feel like all eyes are constantly on us. How do I handle this? I don't know how to get the nagging to stop, especially from my family. It feels so rude and presumptuous, like, butt the fuck out.
I get it.
As a woman who has only been married for
2 years.
As a woman, and who is married.
I get it, girl. I mean, Connor and I have been getting this question. We've been together going on 6 or 7 years now. So we've been getting this question for forever. And I totally empathize with you. I get it. And I think when I was a little bit younger, I used to find it very rude and presumptuous as well. So I totally understand. Now with my age, I'm starting to realize more and more that it's less about people being nosy and more about people just being genuinely curious. And it is because of tradition and things like that. So I think, when you start to get frustrated at the question, remember where the question is coming from and who it's coming from. Because I promise you, if it's from family and friends, it is probably coming from a very genuine place because they see it as a good, happy thing. Now, as somebody that is child free, and if you have been following me, you probably know that I have kind of been on the fence about kids my entire life. I've never really felt the pull to be a mom. So I totally understand as well when you tell people like, hey, I'm not ready, or I don't know if I want kids, you do get met with judgment. And so I can understand how that would be frustrating as well. I think Connor and I have kind of just started shutting it down, and just in terms of like, maybe we're just not ready yet. And that's it. You don't have to give people all this explanation if you don't want to. The key to not letting it upset you is just remember that more often than not, when people are asking you, it's coming from genuine love, and it's not coming from a place of presumption. Yeah. What do you think?
In the homosexual LGBTQ plus IA community, children it's not a nagging thing. Like I think for our community, it's not something a lot of people expect. However, it happens quite often. I know many people in my community that have children, and I've been in relationships where I've been told by the other person that they want kids and it's something that they're interested in very soon. For me, I have a lot of children surrounding in my life, and that has been sufficient for me. I love kids. Absolutely love kids. I worked in a daycare for 3 years. Love children. In terms of like having people sort of the nagging that you describe, you know, look, I've not been married. I'm not in a heteronormative relationship where that expectation or that tradition, as you say, is kind of prevalent. But I have heard with some of my straight friends and girlfriends that, you know, this happens. And I think you're kind of right. I think if it's sort of a family situation, obviously you don't want to go after your in-laws, but, you know, having a conversation with your partner and saying, hey, do you mind saying something, you know, to your family if it's a constant thing, like if, you know, your mother-in-law is just incessant about it. It's like, hey, can you talk to her and, you know, have a conversation of like, I appreciate it. We're just exactly what you said. We're just not there yet. It does kind of bother us that you kind of bring it up a lot. And I know that it's something that you want, but you know, this is something that's got to be right for us and our family. And it could be financial. It could be, there could be a lot of reasons. There's so many reasons that are your reasons. And hoping that a family member kind of understands that. Yeah. But if it like keeps going and keeps going, I think you're right. It's just like, and sometimes it will be like, oh yeah, when you have kids, and they start making jokes about it, and okay, the passive aggressiveness can stop. Try not to make it a fight. Try to make it a productive conversation. I know it's kind of tough, but at the end of the day, it's your decision. It's your life. If it were more of a friend, if you're close enough to that friend, it'd be like, hey, look, I need you to stop bringing it up. Like, real talk, you're my friend. I'm going to be real with you. Stop. And if they're not really that good of your friend, girl, say whatever you got to. Like, it's none of your goddamn business. I'll have children when I want to have children, if I want to have children. You're not my friend. I don't owe you anything. So I think it just sort of depends on the scenario. But I don't think it's wrong to tell people that I'm going to do it when I want to do it, and I would appreciate it if you would please stop. And look, we just live in a society, girl. It's going to be a new person. It's going to be a new person. It's going to be a new person. And just, you'll have your talk track and you'll put it on play, but you know, try to have patience with it, but also it's none of your goddamn business.
100%. And women have babies at all ages. Like people tell me all the time, you're going to be a geriatric mom. Fuck off. Fuck off. Like, I am healthy as can be. And if I decide when I want children is close to my 40s or at fucking 40, if Kourtney Kardashian can do it, so can I. So tell them that. But yeah,
I have a lot of friends in their 40s that have kids.
Yeah, it's super normal. And if anything, like, honestly, I'd probably be a better mom at 40 anyway than I would be right now. So,
period.
Yeah. And CJ is 100% right. It's your life. And for anybody that does ask a lot and nag, y'all, it does get on people's nerves. And also remember, kindly, you never know what someone's going through. Infertility is a real thing. So don't be presumptuous that just because someone's not having kids is because they're intentionally not having kids. A lot of people want kids. But yeah, babe, I bet your parents and friends also think you would be an amazing mom. That's probably also why they're asking.
Yeah, that's a good outlook. Yeah. Girl, just look at some of these people, be like, don't be talking about my kids. When are you going to get your eyebrows done? Like, girl, get out of here.
Yeah, shift the focus. Demean them a little.
Shift the focus. Get out of here. Yeah.
Call out something on their face, like a pimple.
No. When are you going to get a foundation that's a little more closer to your skin tone?
You going to pop that? When?
No.
You're going to have a geriatric pimple.
Gross. Anyway, great conversation today. We were all over the place what we had to say, but I think it was really good. Yeah. Send in those I need your opinions.
Give us some tea. We like the really juicy shit. If you have some crazy shit going on in your life, please tell us about it. Please. Yeah.
So or even some off the wall, like random stuff, like the CJ versus 100 gorilla. No, 100 CJs versus a gorilla came in. I mean, obviously, I would win. I'm crazy, and there's 100 of me. No.
Could you imagine 100 CJs?
The world is not ready.
No.
The world is not ready.
That gorilla would have an aneurysm immediately if he saw 100 of you running towards it.
Ah! Yeah, that would be it.
Anyway, guys, thanks for hanging in with us today.